Hello, everyone. Wednesday, 11 a.m.-ish. Questions, questions, questions. Bring them on.
Hey everyone. So today's question is a practical one. How to get your first pull-up? What can you
Mhm.
give us a roadmap?
Yes. So we're coaching position with tension, tension with position. There's two ways to try to work on your pull-up. There's the scenic route where you do all the programs out there, which is use bands, negative pull-ups, whatever, ring rows, etc. That might work or not. This is just doing exercises and certain rep schemes, putting volume behind it, etc. The way we do it, I hope it's a direct way. At least that's what happens in reality and in practice. Is you have to understand what you're looking for in terms of position and in terms of tension, because otherwise you're gonna take the D route, the derouting, and you're gonna stop on that scenic route like 25 times because this is a better exercise or this is a better exercise. I don't care about the exercises you do. I care about the following. When you wanna get your first pull up or the second, third, fifth, doesn't really matter. You have to position wise only take care of two things. This means while you pull yourself up, your elbows should go from the inside toward the outside, and your shoulder blades should move together and stay down. Now you do whatever your exercise you want to do and adjust those hips to them. If you want to have some tips from me, which exercise to do, you can start with a simple ring row. You can do twisted ring rows where you start like this, you pull up, and the only thing you're going to focus on is keeping your shoulder blades down, bringing the shoulder blades together, and getting your elbows from the inside as far to the outside as you can. Because this will allow the big muscles, in that sense, the lats first, to start working how they're supposed to be. The downside of doing negative pull-ups or banded pull-ups is always there's no component of position in there. That's just means you're doing your whatever 3 times 10 banded pull-ups, and there's no emphasis on where the shoulder blade should be, which muscles are going to be used. Um, so obviously, it's not only about the shoulder blades and the elbows. Obviously, we're going to do whatever lat pull downs, we're going to do rows, but always with the called the bone rules underneath them. So no matter if I do a Yates row or a lat pull down or a pull up or any other rowing exercise for your lats, shoulder blades together. Once you're up there, shoulder blades down and elbows go from the inside as far to the outside as you can to get the biggest stretch and biggest activation in your lats. So that's why I always say the row is not for the lats, but the lats are for the row. So that means we have to switch our perspective, stepping away from just doing exercises and actually having a step-by-step plan of what we're looking for in those exercises outside of very unspecific advice like shoulder or whatever, chest up or keep your shoulders back. You have to understand how to do this on a practical basis. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Um, I'm going to give you a different example. Maybe it makes more sense stepping away from training a little bit. This is the same concept as I think we've talked about this before, but it's worth um, repeating it. This is the same as someone telling you to be more charismatic. This doesn't mean anything. This is the same sentence as keep your chest up or do it properly or tighten your core or whatever bullshit phrase you're going to hear. It doesn't mean anything. A step-by-step plan for being more charismatic, the same as that I just talked about the pull-up with shoulder blades and using the lats, is all right. When you enter a room, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to stand still and try to get eye contact with every single person in that room. That's something that I can actually do. This is not a theoretical concept of being more charismatic. This is an actual to do. I'll enter the room, I'll stop, I try to look everybody in the face, then I'll go to step number two, which is okay, I'll approach anybody or everybody in the room after I made eye contact, and I'm going to shake their hand and I'm going to introduce myself. step number two. Step number three is, all right, once I introduce myself, I keep eye contact and I smile. All right. So we don't have to go all the 27 steps how to be more charismatic. But this is, I think, or from my experience, is what was missing or is missing in training. There's a lot of very general advice of doing how to do exercises, keeping your knees out, externally rotating, but it doesn't mean anything in practice for somebody that either just started training or maybe has not the greatest body awareness, right? So we have to create a system where you can not check the boxes, but actually have very simple, basic steps that you can practice. It's hard to do a pull up and pulling your shoulder blades together. This sounds super simple. It is not. It is actually really hard. But if you're not doing and practicing this, guess what? Other muscles are going to take over, which are going to push you further from achieving your pull-up. So the weird thing is, the more you do negative pull-ups, the more you do whatever banded pull-ups, the bigger your shoulders are going to get because you're just starting to pull with your shoulders. So that means you get those big melons on your shoulders, which nobody likes except the dudes, but your lats are not going to be engaged. So this is how we have to prep training, teach training, super simple, doable action steps that you have active control over, which means I know if I'm doing it right or not. I'm not dependent on somebody else standing right next to me to answering the question of, am I doing it right?
Hmm. What is your argument now though if someone is like, I don't care about the fact that my shoulders are kind of like popping, and what is a good argument to explain to someone why it makes sense for them to have their lats actually work?
Okay, I don't want to take away any excitement of anybody out there that just did their first pull up and they did it like this. This is totally fine, right? This is not the point. The point is, you will run into either a brick wall, a hurdle, pain, no progress, and this is the recipe for less motivation, right? And this is going to be an issue because 2, 3, 4, 5 years in, you either going to stop training or spend more time at the physio or doctors than actually training. So do whatever you want, but if you're interested in hockey stick progress, if you're interested in how to avoid being in constant pain doing pull-ups, it is not the pull-up. It is the way you've been taught to do pull-ups or a lack thereof. Um, this won't convince anybody out there. I'm totally aware of that, but we have to restart the process and tell people, okay, I don't mind your shoulders being huge if your lats are huge too.
Mm.
You are creating a disbalance, which at some point will limit you from doing your third, fourth, or fifth pull-up, or you will experience pain uh, as a surprise one day when you wake up and your shoulder starts hurting a little. Nothing crazy, but it just gets aggravated over time. Um, this is only something that I can tell people from my experience. What's going to happen? You have to do your own mistakes, and they're totally fine. Everybody has to do the mistakes. So did I. That's great. But be aware that there is a step-by-step solution for it, and you can practice it on your own.
And you mentioned that kind of like how we have, in a way, gotten that kind of backwards with exercises and muscle groups, which kind of like comes first. Why do you think that is actually in the fitness industry? That there is such an emphasis on the exercises instead of the underlying problems or kind of like ways out of that problem?
Um, that's a very good question, actually. Because teaching people or educating people is actually really hard. It's frustrating sometimes because you have to repeat stuff over and over again, try to sort of find different ways because humans have different perception and words and whatever it is. It's just really hard to do. It's the same as how many good teachers, good professors do you know, and how many bad teachers and bad professors do you know, right? And the good ones can bridge the gap to practical examples, to make it enticing, to make it fun, to see progress. And that's actually hard to do. And this is not something that comes along with exercises. And honestly, if you don't try to improve training and you're just gonna let it run, it's gonna get worse. And if you're not financially suffering or physically suffering, you won't change anything at all. That's the downside of following methodologies. Is it will work. Trends will work for whatever 5 to 15 years, and then all of a sudden they're gonna disappear or gonna get a bad reputation because the the improvement of the product or the service is not happening. And that's basically the way that functional training is right now.